So you know how I said Astral would be the next nation breakdown? Well, it's not very spooky, is it? In the spirit of it being October at the time of recording, I've decided to bump Abyss up the food chain. Oh, it's known as a witch. I forgot to mention that. Necromancy's ultimate end goal. But you're not here for my Skyrim OC lore. You're here for me to talk about the Abyss. Talking about Abyss is a bit awkward, as its design, space, and set 2 isn't as focused like Giant Insect was for the Primal video, but instead it's just kind of all over the place, with generalized support with Chimera probably being the biggest winner of the bunch. So with that in mind, Venom Necromancer Chimera Tyrant Beelabutcher, that's a mouthful, is the only new level 5 for the Abyss Nation with 3 drawback 27k power, and he's an undead Chimera and has the new hip, edgier version of the OG Beelabutcher from set 1. With a brief reminder, he was one of the better level 4s from set 1 Abyss and still sees play as late as set 3, so let's see how the evolution stacks up. A Beelabutcher with a different name is his evolution clause, and this might sound like weird wording as there's only one Beelabutcher other than him as of right now, but this is future-proofing, so don't think too much about it. He has Defender, and you can invoke it from your Lost Area via Evolution, which, may I remind you, is basically stacking it on top of its evolution requirement and paying the level difference. And in Tyrant's case, also bouncing a level 1 or higher engaged Chimera to the hand when involved from the Lost Area this way. A college essay's worth of text, and all of it's a summoning condition and 1 keyword. In addition to Defender, he also has another effect reminiscent of his OG Beelabutcher counterpart, that when he's destroyed by any means, you can discard a card and target the OG in the Lost Area and add it to your hand. Then, if this ally was destroyed by the battle, and was evolved, destroy the ally at battle. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of Tyrant Beelabutcher. I know, a sour start to the video, but the fact he's got so much text to do so little always irked me. And then the fact that he's, in the end, just a giant Yomi ship for all that payoff doubles my discontent. He does have Defender though, and him being Lost Area invocable means that once you have one in there, you basically have it forever, so that's pretty good. But compared to the original, which is one of, if not the best level 4 in the nation due to his simple sticking ability, Tyrant just adding an explosive device to him and complicating it makes me personally feel like he missed the mark. But my biggest irk is that he's probably Archai's biggest noob trap. Unlike the original, which was a solid turn 2 play due to it being annoyed out, Tyrant is nowhere near as annoying. First of all, you actually do take all 3 points of damage when he's run over, unlike the original Beel, and supporting over him with a level 1 weenie easily clears him anyways, so most of the time he's a minor nuisance without proper board setup to fully utilize him. These Chimera's claws take a steady hand to guide. The next Chimera is Necro Chimera Lucifal at level 4 with 2 drawback and 22,000 power, that once per turn can discard an Abyss ally to destroy a restrained ally with a lower level than the thing you discarded, with a 1 expended vote cost. Lucifal used to dominate the meta back in the day, but nowadays his nerfed effect makes him simply, okay. Playing 2 or 3 of these alongside Beel will make a solid level 4 pool for Chimera, and Gurgan, along with a newer released level 3 in terms of incomplete Shambler, does mean that he can hit some pretty high levels, or even level 5s if you dump the Tyrant himself. But most of the time you'd rather discard the low level Chimeras that actually profit you, so keep that in mind. As for Incomplete Shambler, he's their new level 3 with 18,000 power, 1 drawback, and simply says that when he's discarded, forces both players to draw 1 and discard another card. Yeah, Chimera's main gimmick is discarding shit from the hand, so Shambler does help you do that, and you're definitely playing 3 of this diet for no other reason than Abyss has next to no good level 3s that aren't a certain vanilla that we'll discuss later, or the fucking new card that's pretty good in a literal waifu. So, play 3 and get to discarding. In a similar vein, Spell Devourer, a level 2 undead with 14,000 power and 1 drawback with the same condition as Shambler, expends 1 to destroy any spell with aura in play when discarded. While it is more expensive than a good old Spell Break, this card makes up for it by being fairly splashable and a decent side deck choice for decks that natively discard. I personally run this one in Shaman for Marquee and Bestiary plays, and in Chimera you have native aura removal in a format that has none of it, so play 1 or 2 in the main, and slide a 3rd for the matchup. Okay, so the next 2 cards I'm going to group together despite not being the same level, but bear with me here. Necro Chimera, Asmodane, and Splicer are a level 1 and 0 Chimera Undead hybrid that, when discarded, either expend 1 to draw 1, or unexpend 1 and gain 1 life respectively. These 2 are some of, if not the most widely splashed Chimeras. Level 0 and Splicer makes them an excellent blocker if you don't need the discard, and Asmodane turns discard costs into free upstarts, making them both absolutely incredible if your deck natively runs discards. So much so that in Legacy, these cards were splashed in almost fucking everything, to the point where we almost murdered them for fear of splashability. Fortunately, we live in the good timeline, and these 2 cards will be Chimera staples until the end of the time, or we print some Timmy custom card that does both of them at once. The final new piece of Chimera support is Stitched Together, which discards a hand card as cost and boosts a Chimera by 5,000 points and also draws you a card. It's not bad per se, and that attack boost certainly can come in clutch, and the fact that it also draws makes a decent cycle as well. A Dr. Fryan on legs, if you will, so play by preference. Oh, wait, scratching the bottom of the barrel here, Beckon into the Dark is a spell card that draws 2 cards, then forces you to banish a dark monster from your hand, or else you discard your entire hand. Oh wait, that's a War of Darkness from Yu-Gi-Oh! How silly of me. This is Beckon into the Dark, which discards an Abyss ally, expends 1 to draw 2 cards! Okay, jokes aside, a War of Darkness was basically the straight inspiration for Beckon, and as a Chimera support card, hell, as a generic Abyss card, it's one of the better ones. Discarding Asmodane makes untapped potential blush, and discarding Splicer basically eliminates its cost entirely, so if you just manage your expend, Beckon is very versatile and one of the better generic Abyss spells. Demons, unlike Chimera, are odd. They have a weird dichotomy between the sacrifice and hand-ripping playstyles, so starting off we have Manipulation Demon Unod, a convoluted-ass card with 3 drawback and a thick 24,000 power that evolves onto any level 3 or higher Abyss ally. And when it does so, it can add Faustian Bargain from your deck or Lost Area to your hand, and has a bonus effect that forces your opponent to discard a card whenever they add a card to their hand, except by drawing, as a soft one's return. And Faustian Bargain is a neutral spell that lets you and your opponent search your deck for a spell and add it to your hand for no cost. Okay, I see what they're doing here. For reference, this card used to be a hand-whipping machine, but now it has lore tie-ins with the Bargain neutral spell that nobody plays. Bargain is a very interesting card to play due to it helping the opponent as much as it helps you. So I think the mindset was Unod would mitigate their ad, and the fact it grabs you the spell for free certainly makes it worth considering. Overall, this card could do a lot of whack crap in the right hands, so keep an eye on it, or break it yourself and be funny. The other Demon Lord level 4 is Entet, with 2 drawback and 23,000 power that once per turn can sacrifice an ally to make your opponent also sacrifice an ally, although they could discard a card to avoid doing so. I'm not gonna lie, I thought this card was complete dookie dog water at first until I played against it. Demon Lord is surprisingly good at whittling down resources, so unless you're Astral, you might not always have the hand necessary to afford the discard at the time, so Entet can force you into some pretty precarious decision making. The cost of sacrificing an ally might not seem steep, but demons are literally built for this, and forcing you to remove an ally before combat even starts can be pretty devastating. The new level 3 demon is fittingly named Gremlin Demon, and when he's destroyed in battle while you control no other allies, expend 1 spirit to destroy the ally at battles. Jeez, Billy, how come your mom lets you have 2 Yomi ship? However, unlike the big Chimera, this guy is surprisingly useful as a turn 1 play. Similar to Set 1's Phantasmal Maiden, which I completely forgot to mention in the Primal video because somehow I missed an entire paragraph I wrote about her in the script, this Stuber can be annoying to deal with as it basically means sacrificing a level 1 to do so, as supporting over it is the most common means of dealing with him. And if he's the last ally on the board, he can be quite convoluted to clear at times, making him a solid generic level 3 in the class. Then you have Demon Spawn. It's a new level 1 when sacrificed to invoke another one of itself from the deck, restrained at no level cost with good stats. Albeit as a hard one's per turn. Good stats? Check. Good typing? Check. Free blessing for doing your deck's gimmick? Check. Yes sir, this is a fine addition to sacrifice decks. It's literally free resources and has good stats. What more do you want me to say? Linda's Soul Channeling Mage is not a demon, but she's the hottest new Abyss level 3 on the block. Remember when I said this deck has no good level 3s and that there was a waifu? Well, here's the one good level 3. She simply, when invoked, expends 1 to invoke any level 0 Abyss ally from your deck restrained without paying its level cost. Oh, thank goodness, us brokies out here can barely afford level 0s on a normal day, let alone in this economy! Jokes aside, that this is your best level 3 you can play in pretty much any Abyss deck. Free cards are never bad, and to top it all off, she gets a brand new level 0 for demons in the form of Black Sheep. A demon undead that, when sacrificed, can send any demon or undead from the deck to the Lost Area. I shouldn't have to explain why a card that says send thing to Lost Area in Lost Area Nation is good. And worst case scenario, can serve as a chump blocker in a pinch. Needless to say, this sheep is the GOAT. The other level 2 honorary demon support is Lilith Deceitful Succubus, a vampire with 14,000 power that, while it's restrained if it would be destroyed in battle, you can sacrifice another Abyss ally instead. And when she's invoked, can discard an Abyss ally to add Blood Rain from your deck to your hand, which is an aura from set 1 that unexpends a spirit every time an ally is sacrificed during your turn, but only once per turn. Does this sound like a thrown-on effect? It says it is! This card used to be an annoying cretin that would create attack locks later on, so it was changed to be a Blood Rain searcher for sacrifice decks. Sadly, the poll is still out how useful she'll affect vampires in set 4, but for sacrifice demon strategies, she's pretty alright. Demons get 2 new spells in this set: Demonic Ritual, a simple spell that expends 1 to look at the top 10 cards of your deck to add any demon ward among into your hand, and Dagon's Domination, a convoluted-ass spell that sacrifices an ally at cost to have all allies your opponent controls become Abyss Nation this turn, and have their power become 0 while battling a Demon Lord ally. My thoughts are mixed on Domination. On one hand, it allows all the level 4 Demon Lords to hit above their weight class, and Nation changing to Abyss is nice for lore, but it feels so odd. It's basically a neg 2 up front for pseudo removal, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, so experiment at your own risk. Last but not least is Undead, whose support is mostly mixed with Chimera this set, but does get a few new level 1s for you Baldawanda enthusiasts out there. Mass Grave is a level 1 with a pitiful 4,000 power that when destroyed in battle can invoke another copy of itself restrained without paying its level cost from the deck. This card is odd. It's so weak that level 0 vanillas can bully it, but in theory it can help you ramp, one of the worst level 1s in the game, but ramp nonetheless. This card does get a lot better in set 3 with the new combat trick, but for set 2, this is a grave that should stay buried. What's much better though is Mobbing Dead, a level 1 with 1 drawback in 8k that has Defender. So why is this good? Because Defender is stupid good in set 2, and having a guy that can swing and still be annoying at such a low level is amazing. And since the only other Defender in the nation is the fucking Butter, it fills its role nicely. It's great in Baldawanda Undead decks as a Sakuretsu armor magnet. Does that make 3 Yomi ships in the same set? But more importantly, it splashes. He's easily one of the best generic undead level 1s, right up there with Shamwar from set 1, so you play 3 and never any less. The only new undead spell is Decompose, which sacrifices an undead to draw a card. There's not much to say here. It's a solid sacrifice tool, works well with Shamwar. What do you want me to say? Then we have Catacomb Coliseum, which is an aura that during your attack phase triples all allies the opponent controls by 3,000, so long as they have more allies than you do, and forces both players to attack at least one ally possible during the attack phase. This card was recently nerfed, as its old version led to tons of degenerate nonsense, orchestrated by myself, so now it's a neat tool for sacrifice decks or an attack floodgate while you have less dudes. It's okay. And finally, we have Abyssal Grasp. Possibly the most powerful new spell in the Abyss strategy. So powerful, in fact, that you don't even have to put it in your deck to see its effects. It's a new swift spell that once per turn, if you're attacked directly while you control an Abyss ally, you can expend 1 spirit to destroy the attacking ally. Now let me explain for you non-archetype players out there, this is by far the most devastating spell to actually resolve in the entire game. Being in combat and going for game only for not only your attack to be stopped, but for your entire dude to die without doing any damage or accomplishing much is devastating. So devastating that it's created what I call Grasp Syndrome, where players natively will clear every last Abyss ally on the field before going face just to avoid this thing resolving. I actively always play at least one in my Abyss deck simply for this effect, either in the main or the side, and if I notice an opponent not playing around it, that's when I can straight up steal entire games on a single swing. This card is amazing with things like the Beelbutters, as now you're forced to fight them instead of face hunting, which previously could be considered a Beelbutter weakness. So keep this card in mind for all Abyss strategies. And that's it, no more cards, everyone can go home. No, seriously, the Ultra Stardom clip will play any second now, any time. Genocide Parasite is a level 3 vermin with 2 drawback and 18,000 power that evolves onto any level 2 or higher Abyss ally, and when it does so, it can add back any level 2 or lower Abyss from the lost area of your hand. In addition to once per turn, it can sacrifice an ally to make the foe lose power equal to the power of what you sacrificed until end of turn. I hate Genocide Parasite and personally consider it a waste of space. Don't get me wrong, sacrificing a demon spawn and weakening something by 9k isn't the worst thing you can do in the game, but just look at this thing. 2 drawback for a stat reduction in a deck with plenty of better ways to do so, and it doesn't even get you any sort of card economy in a nation starved for it, and a pitiful level 2 add bad when involved trying to imitate Daddy Dishaft and Revive Curse, pretending he's supposed to be here. The only genocide I see is all copies of this card as they hit the recycling bin, and a nation starved for good level 3s, I find a bad slot like this to be extra rough. Way to kick a man while he's down. Man, kind of a downer ending too. Just like the beginning, in fact. I'm not gonna lie to you, Abyss probably got the shortest straw of this set. For every amazing card, it feels like 2 stinkers. And unlike Primo, where I could see some value in every card I got, it feels like a lot of the cards I talked about were just patch filler, last minute add-ons or the result of nerfs due to abuse. I guess in a way it fits the Chimera theme. Patchwork amalgamations, and in some cases, abominations of nature that shouldn't exist at all. But don't let that dissuade you. I've seen what a competent player using these cards can do, and I myself am known to dabble in the dark arts with a little bit of Baldawanda personally, and the good cards from set 1 are still quite good. I think Morona here is a good example. She might be a hideous deformity as a lich, a monstrosity that spits in the face of the divines on her necromantic journey for power, but underneath all that, there's still something worth admiring. Thank you all for watching. I promise the next video will be Astral. I won't debate you again for the sake of Halloween. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye.